Good morning. The Korean government is set to announce its tariffs on imported rice today, and sources say the tariff could exceed a whopping 500%. Millions of Scots are set to head to the polls to decide the fate of Scotland. Emotions run high in a vote that could change 3 centuries of history. Used bookstores took a backseat as online bookstores and ebooks grew in popularity, but secondhand books are hoping to catch their second wind. The Incheon Asian Games kick off tomorrow, and this is going to be the hotspot. So where do you go and what do you do before, between, and after the events? On Korea Today, Thursday, September 18th, 2014.
From Arirang News, this is Korea Today.
And good morning. Thanks for tuning in to our Thursday edition of Korea Today. I'm Jung Ju alongside Kim Min-jung and Kim Yam. We're now just a day away from the grand opening of the Incheon Asian Games, and athletes from all across Asia are gearing up and making their final preparations for this big event.
That's right. And just yesterday, North Korea's synchronized swimming team held their last-minute rehearsal, and they were just graceful and elegant and really beautiful. Look at those hand gestures.
I love those nose clips.
I love those nose clips.
And their outfit.
Right.
Fabulous.
North Korea is set to take part in 14 sport disciplines with 150 athletes. We'll have to see how well they do in this competition.
Yep, and we will be looking forward to the games, and it all kicks off tomorrow, right? And we do have many South Korean athletes that we're looking forward to, such as we interviewed him earlier on, and this week, Park Tae-wan. Sonyeon-jae is another one, and tickets are sold out for those main events, but there are some tickets that are open for some of the other events that are out there, like handball and such. So if you want to get to it, then that might be a good idea to check out the games.
In the meantime, good luck to all the athletes who will be taking part. All right, we'll begin this morning with a story on a sticky issue. The Korean government is set to announce its rice import tariffs, and according to sources, it is likely to be set at 513%. The notification is to be made to the World Trade Organization, and this comes 2 months after Seoul vowed to open up its long-protected rice market starting January 1st. The 500% level tariff is in line with the government's measure to cushion the impact of rice imports.
We plan to set tariffs at the highest rate allowed by the WTO, and we will continue to exclude rice from tariff concession in other trade agreements.
Analysts say with the high tariff, foreign rice imports will have a limited impact on the local market. The government will also unveil a set of other measures to protect the rice industry, including banning retailers from mixing locally produced and imported rice. After Seoul's notification by the end of this month, members of the UN trade body will review the proposal over the next 3 months.
According to China's ambassador to South Korea, ties between Pyongyang and Beijing have been good and are still just fine. Speaking at a forum organized by a local university, Chinese ambassador Chu Gi-hung was quoted as saying North Korea and China have maintained a normal relationship, and there have been normal exchanges of visits between the leaders of both countries throughout the years. Chu added that he believes North Korean leader Kim Jong-un's visit to China could materialize sometime in the future, and that timing should not be linked to the question of relations. Kim came to power in December 2011 and has yet to visit the leader of the North's closest ally, China, since assuming office. His father, Kim Jong-il, waited 6 years while asserting his leadership at home before traveling to China for the first time.
And German Chancellor Angela Merkel has been chosen as this year's recipient of the Seoul Peace Prize. The committee in charge of selecting the awardees held a press conference on Wednesday and said it has chosen the German leader as she has highlighted the importance of human rights and dignity by atoning for her country's involvement in World War II and its past wartime atrocities. In 2008, visiting Israel, Merkel said that Germans were filled with shame over the Nazi Holocaust. This is the first time an incumbent leader has been chosen since the biennial Seoul Peace Prize was established in 1990. Its past recipients include UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon and Doctors Without Borders.
Korea, like any other country, has seen a growing popularity of online bookstores and e-books, but this trend has led to a significant drop in the number of physical bookstores, with 27% of them closing shop over the past 10 years or so, and this downturn has hit used bookstores even harder. Now, private companies as well as local governments are carrying out efforts to revive used bookstores in particular, which they say are reservoirs of culture and memories of the past. For more on the details of such efforts, we now connect live to our Kim Chen-ju this morning. Good morning, Chen-ju.
Good morning, Jinju. I'm at a used bookstore in Itaewon, Seoul, with about 100,000 used books in stock, ranging from novels, travel and history books in English. What I'm holding now is a rare copy of American writer and novelist Paris Books' Kinfolk. This is actually the first edition that was really published in 1948. So here's the rare copy of the used book. That's hard to find. Well, Itaewon is known as a bustling area, but it's not really a location known for lots of bookstores. And but this particular bookstore here in Itaewon, they have been keeping their business steady for over 40 years, since 1973. Korea's used bookstores have gone through their golden days as well as a downturn, but now the market is on an upward trend again. So let's take a look at how used bookstores evolved over time in Korea.
Aladdin Used Bookstore in Korea has successfully pioneered the trade of second-hand books online. In 2011, it opened its first offline store and now operates 18 used bookshops nationwide.
Aladdin Used Bookstore offers a new way of distribution for used books. Anyone can stop by and look for books that they want, so it has that convenience factor. Currently, we carry a wide range of second-hand products, including textbooks, children's books, magazines, as well as records.
The company developed its own database, which it has used for buying and selling a vast variety of used books and records. As a result, it is seeing on average 30% growth in sales. Despite being a used bookstore, the interior of the store is modern and well-maintained. Customers can easily look up books and their locations.
Books follow trends, which is why people tend to read those trend-oriented books only once. Also, my children read a lot of books these days, so I come to this used bookstore to sell and buy books. I remember there were a lot of used bookstores in the past. Those stores used to buy back textbooks quite often back then. But now a lot of people buy books online or read books on their smartphones.
Used bookstores in Korea began popping up where it was difficult to buy books in the country. The 70s and 80s is when the industry was at its peak. But since the 1990s, they started to fall behind due to the increase in large-scale modernized bookstores and online purchases.
The majority of used bookstores are usually managed by one person. And that's why a lot of places struggle financially. In the past, a lot of times even the owner wouldn't know which books he or she had in stock. So there needs to be a modernized system, like a list of titles, that offer easier access to customers.
Recently, small used bookstores have gone together, creating a national bookstore cooperative in an effort to stay competitive. Last month, they established a shared warehouse in Gimpo, Gyeonggi-do Province.
Each used bookstore has its specialty. The books that are popular vary depending on the location and sales method of the store. Also, you have to consider the different tastes that owners have. All things considered, it's only natural all stores have certain books that don't sell well. This warehouse is for exchanging those unsold books.
Every Thursday, used bookstore owners from across the country gather in this large warehouse to exchange information and purchase books for their stores.
다음에 저기 아동물을 좀 많이 우리 애기 책이 많이 나가거든요. 근데 아이들 스티커북 좀 챙겨다 주세요.
The cooperative allows used bookstore owners from 25 locations in the country to exchange information so they can create a specialty for each store. It also plans to run an online bookstore in the future. As the times change, used bookstores are also evolving. At this second-hand bookstore, if you bring in used books, you can use them instead of cash to buy coffee and other drinks.
Instead of getting rid of your old books, if you bring it to places like this, it allows someone else to read them. In a way, you're sharing books with others, and you can also buy them for cheaper prices, so I think it's great.
Used books were once considered old and out of style to many, but new types of used bookstores are reinventing that image. More efforts are likely to continue to introduce old books in a novel way to readers in this digital era.
So the secondhand bookstores are coming up with innovative ways to attract more customers. Now, Chanju, what are some of the things that the local governments are doing to help revive this market?
Well, in cities like Seoul, you can find the location of used bookstores by logging into Seoul Metropolitan Library website. The library actually made a map on its webpage giving you information where all these used bookstores are located around the city. And it is also available by downloading Seoul Metropolitan Library application on your smartphone. Well, according to the library website, there are about 100 used bookstores spread out across the city. And in particular, if you're wondering how many stores are located in this Yongsan-gu district, I have a tablet PC right here. And the web page tells us that there are about 5 used bookstores in Yongsan-gu district, and the map. And also you can, if I click down here, you can find the information about each stores, when it's opening hours and the web page, etc. So there you have it. The weekend is almost near, so why not make the most of it by exploring some used bookstores around the city. Over to you, Jinju.
It would also be great if the application could include information on what these individual bookstores specialize in. Well, thank you, Chanju, for that story this morning. That was our Kim Chanju reporting live on efforts to blow life back into the used book market in Korea. Good morning. It's time to run through the front pages of your newspapers. And yesterday afternoon, Pyongsan, interim chief of the main opposition party, who has recently been at the center of a political firestorm, withdrew her decision to leave the party. She is on all the papers this morning, as you can see the images here. But before we go into this, we'll take a look at a different story first here on Chosan-ilbo. And the title says, new public officials' pensions to be downgraded to national pension standard. So the government has decided to reform the pension system for public servants, which has long since been under fiscal deficit. Now, for the new public officials who will be appointed starting the year 2016, the amount of pension to be paid to them will be decreased to the level of national pension. And instead, the government is seeking ways to compensate them by offering severance pay in a lump sum before their retirement, just like any other ordinary employee. Now, moving to that story on Pyongsan, here on 중앙일보. And the headline says, except for 60-year-old roots, opposition party must change everything. And those are words coming from the floor leader of the main opposition party, Park, who had previously hinted that she could quit her leadership post and even leave the party due to infighting over the formation of its interim leadership, especially amid the whole Seoul bill wrangling. However, yesterday she said that she would not be leaving the party, although she would be stepping down as interim chief. And it is noted in these sub-headlines that she did say that she would stay on as the opposition's floor leader to renew negotiations with the governing Saenuri party over the special Seoul bill. Now, offering her sincere apologies for causing so much concern at this critical moment, she emphasized that the opposition party must completely recast itself to reform and transform while only keeping its very basic roots of 60 years in order to become the party in power. Meanwhile, on 동아일보, the same issue, but we're going to have a look at the top headline on 동아일보, and this one is called Pyongsan has returned, but opposition still chaotic. And if you take a look at the sub-headlines, they say that Park's return has put an end to all the fuss over whether or not she was leaving and is expected to enable the party to resolve its leadership vacuum, as well as possibly even end the current parliamentary deadlock. However, the paper says the chaos is still evident within the party, as some hardliners are still requesting for her to step down from the leadership post of the party's floor leader. And finally, let's go on to the economy here on the Mail Business newspaper for a look at this top story. The article is titled Tax Haven Paper Companies Abroad to be Terminated. And it looks like Korean corporates are on alert as the OECD is pushing to head off corporate tax avoidance. In fact, the worldwide coordinated efforts are gathering momentum on terminating tax evasion by global multinational companies through the use of tax havens in foreign countries. And if you take a look at the sub-headlines, it says the OECD has proposed measures to curb such tax dodging by such companies which exploit loopholes in nations offering low corporate tax rates, and it will be submitting them during the G20 finance ministers and central bank governors meeting in Australia coming up in just a couple of days. Now, if you do take a look at this graph, it shows why this will affect Korean companies. In fact, the combined assets that they have hidden in tax havens are the third highest in the world, following the US and Japan. And that was a look at your newspaper headlines for this Thursday, and following are the stock numbers from Wednesday.
The weather is absolutely gorgeous these days, don't you think?
Gorgeous during the day, chilly by the morning. We've been talking about this all week. It's a transitionary period, and this is cold season. As you can see, I have a touch of the cold
you're
there.
coming down with something
Exactly.
there.
So take care out there. For more on today's weather, Chun Song-cho joins us from the outdoors, and we'll go over to her right now. Good morning.
Good morning, Song-cho.
Good morning, guys. It was slightly cloudy yesterday here in Korea, all across the nation. Today, the day starts with overcast skies as well. Rainy and chilly weather in Jeju as a low-pressure system in the north is still affecting our weather system, sending a lot of clouds our way. And some of those clouds are causing precipitation in parts of Jeju and around the southwest coastal regions as of now. The rain will continue until Saturday in Jeju, on and off, but the amount won't be significant, just about 5 to 20 millimeters. On the other hand, conditions are expected to clear up over here in the central regions as we move further into the day. You'll be able to see more sun and temperature rising in the afternoon. With that, let's take a closer look at the temperature readings. Seoul will be the warmest out of all with midday highs of 27. Elsewhere, temperatures hover around the mid-20s, looking nice and comfortable. Jeju will be the coolest at 23 degrees Celsius. This is all for me with the weather forecast. Back to you, Minjung.
The sun has set on the UK, but when it rises again, millions of Scots will head to the polls to decide the fate of their country and also the UK that they have been a part of for more than 3 centuries. For more details, we'll turn to our Eunice Kim, who joins us from the News Center. Good morning to you, Eunice.
Good morning, Minjung.
Now, I understand that polls will open in about 8 hours' time, and it looks like the scale could really tip either way.
That's right. The latest poll released by Ipsos Mori showed a slim lead by those who want Scotland to stay in the UK. They saw 51% versus a 49% lead, though that did not include undecided voters, who are estimated to make up around 8% of registered voters. Therefore, really, this could go either way. And speaking of registered voters, there are 4.2 million Scots who will participate in this referendum vote on Thursday local time. Emotions obviously pouring over in the final mass rallies held by both sides as thousands took to the streets, in part to convince those voters who are still torn on where they stand.
I know a lot of British are saying, stay with us, we're stronger together, but we'll have to wait and see what the results come out to. And what can we expect after the votes are tallied?
Well, if in fact the votes work in the favor of the Scottish who want to pull away from the UK, there are still so many unknowns. Will it still be able to remain with the European Union? What kind of currency will it use? And also, what about the oil? How much oil does it have? Oil being the country's major source of income. But what we do know is that the split won't be effective immediately. They will have a period of 18 months to sort out the massive number of logistics. Scotland will also have to re-register with the EU, renegotiate its membership, and it could face some stiff resistance, particularly from countries like Spain, which is facing its own independence movement from Catalonians. And even if Scotland decides to stay within the United Kingdom, their relationship probably, most likely, will not be the same. We'll leave that there for now and turn to some other news. The U.S. Federal Reserve has said it will keep its interest rates near zero for a considerable time, even after its stimulus program ends in October. Chairwoman Janet Yellen said America's economy was expanding at a moderate pace, with its inflation rate running below the policy committee's 2% objective, and that there were still too many Americans out there who want jobs but can't find them. Markets ended up on Wednesday's following the news. The Dow Jones Industrial Average closed at a record high, rising 24 points or 0.2% to close at 17,156. The Fed has kept short-term interest rates near zero for more than 5 years to help stimulate the market and the U.S. economy at large.
And turning our eyes back to Asia now, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi hosted his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping in a rare state visit and on his 64th birthday as well.
That's right, Minjung, and President Xi brought with him the possibility of tens of billions of dollars worth of economic partnerships that is expected to be reached during the course of his 3-day stay. The two countries have not enjoyed the best of ties, with this visit only being the third visit by a Chinese head of state to the world's second most populous country. But with Narendra Modi needing to create more jobs, thus seeking a boost into its infrastructure and manufacturing projects, and Xi Jinping seeking overseas growth opportunities and also an ally in its tense regional affairs, their economic ties are likely to see better days following this summit. With that, we'll wrap your look at the global headlines we are following this morning.
And still to come, the location of the 2014 Asian Games and the international gateway into Korea, Incheon. This city has so much to offer than people realize, from Korea's own Chinatown to a fish market with deliciously fresh ware, and much more coming up on Korea Today.
Traditional Korean dance, of course, it's traditional for a reason because it has hundreds or some forms of it, even thousands of years of history and culture that's been brought down and passed down through generations and over time and taught to new aspiring dancers. Well, our Lee Myun-hee joins us today with a new approach of the traditional. Good morning, Uni.
Good morning, Young. Right, so you're absolutely right. When you think of traditional Korean dance, you tend to think more of hanboks or more traditional Korean attire. But the National Theater of Korea is recently staging a new type of performance where the contemporary and the traditional go hand in hand. Take a look. It's the classic dispute of men versus women. But this time, there's a twist. This chaotic battlefield is also where the West meets the East. Where the fiery red comes in contact with the cool blue. It's a battle of two worlds. These 16 warriors are from the Middle-earth kingdom of Silmarillion, charged with the duty of guarding the heaven they call Pablo Flores. They must prevent the ferocious Caillou and his human soldiers from entering the only passage into the world of gods.
One by one, as they dance, they die and fall off the stage. And at the end, only the queen from the chess team and a soldier from the Changi team remain. I choreographed the male team and modernized Korean traditional dance techniques, whereas An Sung-soo did a very good job creating a contemporary sensitive dance for the women. So when we come together, we clash.
The performance was choreographed by the National Dance Company of Korea with the intent of transforming traditional Korean dance to make it more accessible to the younger generations, all the while empowering contemporary dance. But the clash goes further. Paganini's soothing music plays against the rhythmic beating of Korean percussions. And there's strength in numbers, but there's also the willpower of an individual. The competition is steep between the groups, but with every swing and every step, there's harmony to be found amidst the turmoil.
The men ultimately want to reach the God side. They follow the style of traditional Korean dance with influences of martial arts, so the movements are very sharp and precise, allowing them to control the scene when on stage. And when they transition with the woman, the scene is very colorful.
Men are physically stronger than women, so as the queen, if I want to win, I have to find my inner strength and rhythm in order to bring my body forward to make a presence on the stage.
It's a place where humans yearn to be gods, but are barred from the entrance, stuck in a Middle Earth. A place where fantasy can come alive, stimulating the senses, all because of the movements and actions of these dancers.
Wow. Well, we had a chance to see them practice and do their thing there. And we also saw the actual stage performance. And I can't help but think of it as sort of like a chessboard in a way,
right,
with chess pieces dancing away on the board.
So the choreographer did mention that. So the mortals are represented through these Changi chess pieces, which is a traditional Korean form of chess, and the immortals are seen through this regular classic form of chess. So it is sort of like a board game that comes into play, and you can almost see it through their costumes as well.
So the artistic director, what was the intention? What were they shooting for? What did they want to convey to the audience?
So the purpose of this piece was really to show this harmony through differences, almost like a yin and yang. And so you saw many different contrasts between the colors, between the male and female, between the teams. And so basically, she said when she first went into this with her partner, they had this very distinct game plan. But once they started doing it, she said she let the dancers kind of go on more of an impromptu and kind of just take their own lead. And she said that was exactly what she was going for. So she saw this flow of harmony once she really let these two, differences collide.
So I see in the dance world, we see a lot more impromptu coming into play as opposed to everything being set up and choreographed, right? All right, well, thank you for this collaboration of different entities. Uni, thank you.
See you next time.
And still ahead on Korea Today, we're going to be looking at fall makeup. The weather is getting a little bit chillier and makeup changes with the seasons as well. Now, with heavier and darker lipstick come lighter eyes and vice versa. So there's a trending look, and this fall is no different. Warm things up as temperatures go up with beautiful tones of red on your lips, or dazzle with gray shades of eye makeup, and catch that with Jennifer Kim.
Now, a recent poll shows that married couples turn to different people for support after the husbands retire. I think I might have some idea on this one.
Well, let's find out with our Seo Mi-sorang, who joins us from the digital room. Good morning,
Good morning. Good morning, guys. That's right. The interesting results are from the latest survey from the Samsung Life Retirement Research Institute when they asked around 500 married couples. So look at this. When asked who they wanted to spend their leisure time with, the #1 response from the men was my spouse. But it was a different story for the women. They chose children and friends instead. Similarly, if you have a look at this chart here, married couples also differed in who they felt the closest to. Men once again chose their spouses, but for the women, it was children first, husband second. And on the medical front, a premature baby who received a liver transplant from her mother at just 3 months after birth is healthy and back with her parents at home. Little Soyeon was the smallest baby in Korea to ever receive a liver transplant at just 2.8 kilograms when she got the operation. Now, in Korea, it's quite common to give cash gifts to each other during each other's major life events such as weddings, baby showers, and funerals. Well, according to the latest poll, office workers gave, on average, $150 per month as these cash gifts. And the thank you relay, modeled after the Ice Bucket Challenge, has become very popular on social network services. Once you have been tagged, you list 3 things you are grateful for, and then tag 3 more friends. And let's finish things off with a crash video of the Hyundai Genesis, which is generating a lot of clicks online. Within just 2 months of its release, more than 1 million people have played the video, which aims to replicate the collision test held last May by the Insurance Institute Highway Safety. Now, back then, it was one of only 3 large luxury cars to earn the Institute's highest award of Top Safety Pick for 2014. And they wanted to demonstrate this high safety for the Korean consumers by performing another crash test right in front of their eyes. And with that, it's a wrap for today's edition of your Daily News Sum Up.
So the Incheon Asian Games finally kicks off tomorrow, and it's not just the athletes that will be gathering in Incheon, it's also tens of thousands of spectators and sports fans who will be in the port city. And Joey Mercadante today joins us to tell us what there is to see and eat in Incheon. Good morning, Joey.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Yes, I mean, there's tons of things to see and do in Incheon. So I decided to see some of the key attractions and report them back to you. This port city is just full of culture and history, as you'll see today. So let's just get to it. About an hour away from Seoul is the international gateway into Korea, the city of Incheon. As it is also home to the 2014 Asian Games this fall, the city has piqued the interest of tourists in the country and out. So we decided to show you the sights. Our trip begins along the coast of Incheon at Sorepogo Port.
Seagulls.
Oh, the air is so fresh. Now, starting tomorrow, there's going to be a lot of people coming to Incheon. So along with the Korean Tourism Organization, I'm here to show you what Incheon looks like in the fall and why you should visit.
The Korean Tourism Organization and Culture Ministry brings travelers a treat for the season, Fall Tourism Week, which provides info on tours, tour courses, and great tourism discounts. One such destination includes Sorepogo Port, where fresh seafood is caught daily and sold at the market.
Oh, wow.
On the weekend, it's packed with people looking for fresh
look at the
treats.
size. They're major in season, right?
In the fall, there are some top seasonal selections such as prawn and, of course, gizzard shad, which is chono in Korean. A fish said to be so tasty it could bring back any runaway bride.
I love chono.
Chono is most delicious in the fall, and you can eat it whole because of its soft bones. I ate the whole fish from head to tail, and it was delicious, fresh, just a little salty. You can taste the freshness of the sea.
Head to tail.
Even the eyes?
Yep. Sorepogo Port used to be a saltern many decades ago, and in 1937, a narrow gauge railway was built to move salt. The train is no longer there, but the tracks are still there and open for pedestrians.
It's so interesting to be walking on this very old railroad track, but what's even more interesting, and I wish you could see it, is how tiny this is. It's so small. What kind of train fit on this railroad track?
For a bit more history, we got to travel back in time at the Sore History Museum.
Hello. One ticket, please.
You do know that. He's not alive.
Including old Sore train station, the museum had historic exhibits of the Sore area dating back 60 years.
You're the man in charge.
It's much more than a port. I like that we can learn about our country's age of enlightenment and other historic facts I didn't know. This was an informative visit.
After the museum, our next stop was the Sore Ecology Park, built where an old saltern used to be. If you have a valid ID and your cell phone, you can borrow a bicycle for free and ride around the park. A ride through Sore Ecology Park is perfect in the fall weather. The salt marshes and other natural scenery make the bike ride really peaceful, and you can just feel your stress melt away. The Eco Park also has a mud flat experience site where visitors can take off their shoes and walk around. It's especially popular with the kids.
Oh,
wow.
It's a crab.
It is great that we can run barefoot on the mud flats or try catching things like crabs. This is not an everyday experience for kids, so they really enjoy it.
After sights around Sore Port, we headed towards central Incheon's Chunggu district, also known as the city's outdoor museum, because of the preserved sites depicting stages of modern civilization. Incheon Port became an open port in 1883 and the first area to experience the Age of Enlightenment. You can see evidence of that in sites here and the buildings which are more than a century old. The opening of the port led to exchanges with our Chinese neighbors, with some settling in the Chunggu area, and that led to what is now Korea's very own Chinatown. The main street was packed with people, stores, and restaurants.
This Chinatown is pretty spot on. I'm impressed.
Now, because of the high number of Chinatown tourists, the area has tourist police, cops to maintain law and order, and give you tour info in different languages.
Right, they interpret for you.
Samgukji Mural Street is located in Chinatown, and it has 160 paintings showing the famous scenes from Samgukji, the records of the Three Kingdoms, covering history from the late 2nd century to the 3rd. And now for the food. This is where one of Korea's favorite dishes was born, jjajangmyeon, a noodle dish with black bean sauce. Konghwachun was the oldest Chinese restaurant in the area and has been transformed into the Jjajangmyeon Museum, showing the history of this noodle dish.
Looking at this jjajangmyeon, I'm getting a little bit hungry. Please, they're not sharing, so I gotta go find my own jjajangmyeon restaurant. Yeah.
Talking to the wrong crowd.
The Jjajangmyeon Museum naturally made the next stop chow time, This restaurant is pretty well known, and its good food has brought in many famous patrons, including past presidents and celebrities. There's always a steady stream of customers here.
There's the jjampong, the jjajangmyeon, and the baekjajang as well. We saw some of that earlier.
The white
That's
one.
right. The jjajangmyeon here in the black bean sauce is, of course, a popular dish. But, as you mentioned, they also have another specialty called baekjajang, made in white
It's just as delicious.
sauce.
It's just a slightly different taste. It's not as sweet. It's nice.
After filling your stomach with delicious Chinese food, time to work some of that off with a stroll at Incheon Chayu Park, or Freedom Park, which is described as the first Western park in Korea. At the highest point of the park, there's a great view of the ocean, as well as parts of downtown Incheon.
It's so true. Fall is the best time to visit Korea. And Incheon especially is just so rich with culture. I learned so much today. There's so many fun things to do, fish markets, delicious food. Why not come and try it yourself?
And we have tried it, and it is very good. But let's go to Seorepogu as well, well as the Chinatown area. Any special Seorepogu, excuse me.
Yeah.
Are there any special events that are going on over there during the Incheon Games?
Okay, so near the area, so about 20 minutes from the Seorepogu port, there is the Pak Tae-hwan swimming pool and the Munak Stadium. So there, at the swimming pool, they'll be having diving competitions, and at the stadium, they'll be having baseball and football matches. And then also nearby is the Incheon football stadium. That's closer to the Chinatown area and the Open Port Culture District, about 15 minutes away. And there they'll be having football matches.
Right, and there will be cultural tourist guides available for foreign tourists as well.
Yes, they have these tour guides available who will take you on a walking tour. It lasts for about 1 to 3 hours, depending. And yes, they'll give you tons of information about history and also the culture of the modern civilization in the area as well. They offer the tours in English, Chinese, and Japanese. And for more information on that, just visit the website, the Incheon Chunggu District website.
And going back to the Seorepogu port, I heard that it's only 40 minutes ride from the Incheon International Airport, so a lot of foreign tourists can stop by at that place to enjoy some fresh seafood.
Yeah, I think people are going to love it there. I mean, we're talking about fresh, delicious, cheap seafood. And what's really great is that in October, the port has a festival as well, where you can get seafood at an even lower price, like about 20% lower than normal. So that's great.
And I believe there is this week, the Fall Tourism Week, that starts next week on the 25th.
Yes, Fall Tourism Week on the 25th, you're right. And it's run by the Culture Ministry and the Korean Tourism Organization. And yeah, visit the website, and it provides you with discounts. It provides you with tailored tours for you to experience. Just absolutely, tons of great information there. And when you get your tickets online at the website, what you also are entitled to is free, like some bonus stuff. You get free entrance to the Sore History Museum, that I went to, and other discounts. So it's a great website to visit.
Discounts and package deals all to match. Check the website for more on that. Thank you so much for joining us, Joey.
You're very welcome. My pleasure.
And a good Thursday morning to you all. Now we have a ton of football highlights to cover this morning, starting off with the Asian Games tournament as both the men's and women's team played their second match on Wednesday night. And the under-23 men's team off to a great start as Kim Seung-dae scores in the 11th minute to give Korea the 1-0 lead. The defense does the rest as Korea hangs on to win it 1-0 and advances to the round of 16. Meanwhile, over on the women's group, what a goal fest from the Korean women's team as they beat India 10-0, with Yoo Young-ah scoring 4 goals in the match, with Chung Ga-eul scoring a hat-trick as the women's team advances to the quarterfinals. And now moving over to the Under-16 AFC Championship, where Lee Seung-woo and the Korean U16 team faced off against Syria on Wednesday during the semifinals. And what started off as Chang Gyul-hee scoring the only goal in the first half turned into a goal fest in the second half as Lee Seung-woo contributes with a goal and 4 assists in the match. Now, Korea crushes Syria 7-1 as they advance to the finals against North Korea after North Korea defeated Australia on penalty shootout. Now, more football, this time over to the AFC Champions League, where FC Seoul faced off against Western Sydney during the first leg of the semifinals as FC Seoul failed to use the home field advantage, with both sides ending in a 0-0 draw. And then with that said, we're going to finish things off in baseball. One of the biggest issues in international baseball tournaments is the players trying to get used to the official baseballs that will be used. And during the Asian Games, it seems like that's going to be a problem once again for Team Korea. Now, with the Korean national team holding their second practice on Wednesday, many of the pitchers had a hard time throwing low strikes with the ball. But while the pitchers weren't happy, the batters, well, they loved it, as many of the hitters on the team noticed that the ball travels further than the baseballs they're used to hitting in the KBO. And that's going to wrap it up for me. This has been SJ. Have a great rest of the day, and see you guys again for your sports needs.
Weather and cooler temperatures of the fall season in Korea brings us to this cafe at Taeyangno, nicknamed University Avenue in Seoul. But why this cafe? Because they not only serve coffee, they provide cosmetics for their customers to try too. It's called a makeup cafe, a haven for fashionistas. These days, many people have been seeking out a particular item.
It's fall and I'm interested in red, so when I saw it here, I tried it. It stands out and it really adds to your personal style.
Lip colors in tones of red, and that's because this is a major trend in 2014 fall makeup. But there are multiple shades of red to choose from the dark burgundy red to the bright high chroma reds. Of all the shades to choose from, these sophisticated dark burgundy and deep reds seem to be the most popular choice for customers in Korea this season. Seductive reds for the lips, shading with browns and greys for the eyes, these are the colors to remember for the fall. Learn what makeup works for you and get fashion savvy for the fall.
The red lipstick is like
where's your red lipstick?
Mount Everest. It's like you want to do it, but you don't dare do
it's
it. Right?
Definitely not an easy color to put on. And today we're going to have some tips on this autumn lip color with our Jennifer Kim, and Mi-sorang and Song-cho is standing by over there with Jennifer. Good morning.
Good morning,
Good morning, guys.
Hi, good morning again.
So that's exactly what we're going to do, red lips with Jennifer, who's just back from the New York Fashion Week.
That's right, and I saw some runway trends there, and that's where I picked up some of these things. But not just that, I've seen a lot of Korean celebrities sporting the red lip look, as well as this metallic-y grey that I'm going to show you today. But first of all, there's so many different kinds of reds, as Min-jung was saying. It's hard to pull off, but the only reason is because usually it's the wrong red for you. So it's all about finding the right red for your skin tone. Yeah, and everyone has different skin tones, but generally there's warm tone and cool tone skin. And if you're cool tone, you can know because you suit silver. If you're warm tone, you'll suit gold better. And so if you're jewelry, right? Yes. And if you suit cool toned, if you're a cool toned skin, then you would suit cool tone reds such as corals and plummy reds. And if you are a warm toned skin, then you would suit warmer reds like the peachy sort of reds with a little bit of a yellow undertone to it. So that's the general rule of thumb, but my main tip is just to try a lot of different reds and figure out what is best for you.
You never know until you try.
Yeah. And you might want to try some vampy reds one day as well.
Whoa, yeah, that's going to be bold.
But if you pull it off, it's really good. Like, you've got a confidence boost. So I'm going to do this on Song-cho today.
Okay, we're doing a little trial and error.
I'm nervous at the same time because I never wear red, like bold lipsticks, you know?
Yeah, I've never seen you wear red, actually. More
I
subtle
haven't either,
colors.
actually. So let's give it a go today. The first step is obviously to start with lip pencil to create the outline of your lips before you apply your lipstick. But due to lack of time, I'm just going to go straight to the red lips. So just let's say that we've done the lip pencil and we've already outlined your lip. So if you'd like to just take a quick seat. My first tip is to not go directly from the red lipstick itself. It's to take the red lipstick on a lip brush.
Oh, is there a specific reason for that?
Because the lip brush helps the lip product to actually go right into all of the creases, as you can see.
There's a lot of fine wrinkles.
Yeah, all of those wrinkles. It gets into those little crevices, I guess, of your lips, and it creates a nice, smooth canvas.
Yeah, sometimes my lips are too dry whenever I try to apply lipsticks on, and the color looks just really disgusting. And you know, you can see the skin peeling off on my lips sometimes.
So what happens is if your lips are already dry, the red would actually look really bad. So make sure that you moisturize your lips really well beforehand with a lip balm. I advise you to go in with the lip balm before you do the rest of your makeup, so that once you come to your lips, it's already nice and soft.
Okay, so before you apply even the base and foundation.
That's right, yeah. And also you want to go in with an exfoliant or a scrub. So as you can see, I'm just taking it in from the corners of the lips. And if you've already outlined your lips, you'll have a really nice clean edge. And this actually is a really nice red for you. You can build this up if you have time, but then I'm going to just do the one layer, and it's like a nice pinkish red that really brightens up your skin.
So is it for cool tone or?
So this one is good for cool tone, which you are. And so once you've done that, my second tip is not just have that monotone red, which can be boring, but to take a brighter pink or like a nude
color. A lighter color?
A lighter color.
Okay. That's a really pretty color too.
Fluorish. Yeah. And you can do this with a brush, but I'm just going to go straight in and put it on your lips. I'm layering it on her lips on the middle section of her lips.
Okay, so it's a two-toned lip.
Blending it in. And this is going to actually create a 3D effect to your lips.
So it makes it more full and plump.
That's right.
Yeah. Maybe for those who have thinner lips, it might be a great trick. Okay,
it's a great color on your ear.
I know. I'll show you. I'm trying to do it while you're speaking.
Have a look at this with the mirror.
It's nice. So it's actually popped out her lips and made it look more fuller. And obviously, if you've got that lip pencil going around, it would look perfect.
And it really brightens up the whole
I really
look.
like it. Yeah, it's red, but then it also looks very, I don't know, stylish.
Yeah.
In a way.
Suits you. And so just clamp your lips over this tissue to get rid of any excess product. It'll help your lipstick to stay on longer. And finally finish off with a lip gloss that has some blue sparkles in it. So if you've got some kind of multi-shimmer blue sparkle, what this does is the blue actually reflects and it brings out the white of your teeth. So if you choose the wrong red, it can actually make your teeth look really yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just going to apply a little bit of that and you can just clamp them together. And there you've got your 3D lips that make your lips look nice and full.
How do I look? All right, so that's the lips. Now what about the eyes?
For eyes, metallic greys and browns are really in at the moment. So since we've done Songcho's red lips, we're going to go on to the eyes.
All right, so I'm the model
now
this
it's your
time.
turn to get pampered.
So because grey is pretty cool, we're going to start off with a warm toned illuminating colour.
Okay.
So like a beige colour. I'm just going to go in and just place it as a base all over the eyelid. Really briefly, and this is going to show up underneath the grey.
So you're actually mixing warm tone and cool tone in this case, the base with the warm
So it'll
tone.
sort of just peep through later, and you'll thank me for it because sometimes greys can look a bit dead if you just use it by itself. So using a warm tone undertone base is the perfect
actually,
trick.
that color really just brighten up like the entire complex of her face.
Yeah. So I've just focused on the inner 2/3, and then I'm going to pick up a grey colour, like a light grey colour here. And important thing is to take a light hand, and I'm just going to place it as a light wash all over her lids. Beautiful lids.
Would it be a good idea to wear that eye makeup with my red lips?
Well, if you're going for a really, no, if you want to go for a really classy look, yes, I would actually recommend it. But if not, what I recommend these grey lids to go together with is nude lips.
So it's more, you want to focus on one thing, either the lips or the eye makeup usually.
Balance. Yep. And then you want to take a darker grey colour, and I'm going to take this one here, which has a little bit of a metallic-y sheen to it. And what I'm going to do...
darkest grey?
It's a really, really dark grey. It's not black. And I'm going to create a little bit of contour to make your eyelids look a little bit more 3D by just placing it on that outer half, the outer
So it's
corner.
like sumptuous lips. So we're doing 3D for the lips and for the
Yep, that's right. So I'm just placing it on the outer corners like so, and just making sure that I'm blending it into that light grey. And also taking it on a smaller brush, just blending it out. Taking it on a smaller brush, I'm going to place it on the outer bottom half of the eyes as well to create a little bit of that smoky look. So look up, please. Okay, so I'm just going to blend it in.
I can see that your eyes look definitely deeper now with like the colors that are highlighting your the inner corners of your eyes, and then
Thank you.
Yeah, the darker colors on the outer V.
So it's contouring your eyes essentially. And then finally, for the real pop of your 3D effect, you want to take a white color.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so like a pearly white color. I'm just going to use this brush here.
And where do we apply that?
And this one, you want to create that 3D effect by placing it right on the ball of your eyelid. So if you could close your eyes.
So in the highest point?
Highest point.
Oh, yeah. So you don't
You've
put
got
it
your
all
makeup
over.
moves all right.
Last time I tried putting it all over my eyes and it just looked too much shimmery.
Yeah, so if you go with pearl eyeshadows, you have to have a really light hand and make sure that you apply it just on the places you really need it. Okay. And if you also finish it off with a tiny little bit underneath your eyes, so your inner tear duct area.
Oh, okay, that will really pop it out as well.
It'll make you look younger. So what do you think, guys?
Beautiful, definitely.
Hey, Songcho, you found your lip color.
That is your look.
Maybe I'm gonna wear it tomorrow as well.
For sure. And I'm sure you would look beautiful
With the grey eyeshadow?
No, the red lipstick.
Red lipstick, okay.
All right, thanks a lot, ladies.
Thank you so much.
Thank
well, this
you.
is where we say goodbye on this Thursday morning.
And wow, the week zoomed by so quick. It's Friday tomorrow. We'll see you back here
right.
Friday morning at 7 a.m.
Have a great day. Thanks for watching.